Hey everyone, this is Dan, the GM, bringing you episode 164 of What the Dice. With 164 episodes in the can, and that means we've got only about 10 to 12 episodes left. I wanted to get a chance to get a little real with y'all. So, with season 1 ending and all that, we are saying goodbye to Pathfinder and we are moving on to Shadowrun. And I'm excited for Season 2 because not only am I able to bring back Nytlin and Ethan, but I am bringing in some more players. And they all have different backgrounds and different experiences, and it's going to make this show more interesting. One of the things that we are doing is a format change. The way the show produces will be different, and the way it sounds will be different. We're going to still try to keep up with the highest quality we can possibly get, but you'll see other episodes that are collabs, and we will be doing seasonal episodes because I want to give you guys as much content as I can. Well, I have unfortunately droned on long enough, so I'm going to shut up and let you get on with this week's episode. I'm Dan the GM. This is What the Dice, and this is episode 164. Thank you for all your support, and I hope to see you in the Discord and in the next episode. We find ourselves on, strangely enough, the rooftop of the inn. It took the innkeeper a little bit of convincing to allow us up onto this wooden rooftop, but we wanted to watch the soldiers train off in the distance. Paladins, soldiers, mercenaries aplenty. We chose not to join the ranks. It didn't feel right. We wanted to help keep a semblance of some kind of normalcy for the people. Sometimes that means us running to the docks and getting supplies, or even just picking up shifts as a guard. But it's getting late. The guards are still training. We decide to make our way down to the storyteller's campsite. The campsite is a little different. It's starting to be packed up. The fire that he normally keeps burning has been buried and packed down. His hut has been gutted just a little bit. His bed is still there and his supplies are still strewn about, but we can see bags that he has prepped for his travels. He looks at us with a smile.
Well, me friends. It is, unfortunate that war has gotten so close. I have decided that I will be heading out soon to safer grounds. But fear not. The story will end before I leave. Well, let us talk of what happened. It seems as if the adventurers had to deal with Yellow Eyes, which wasn't difficult, and Red Eyes. And I do love when Kalila lets out her sass and puts someone like Red Eyes in their place. I've never been a fan of people that use bureaucracy to get their own way, like Red Eyes, but that is nonetheless. They were given a mission. Get some information from Nari to figure out where the cannibal king, Leoris, is hiding. Well, me friends, sit back, forget the war for a moment, and hear me tale.
In the last episode, you went around, dealt with all the different Naga that were questioning your loyalty, what you're doing, how you're doing, why you're doing, the who, what, where, when, why, and all that jazz. At the end, you met with Red Eyes, who literally told you that if you can help him figure out where the Cannibal King is located, they will help you deal with it. Like, That is the they'll trust you that you help them get rid of the Cannibal King type thing.
Okay, I thought they kind of already knew where he was, not that we were to help locate.
I was gonna say, I thought they were pretty much telling us. We had our hunch, and they were like, "Yeah, this is where he's at," is what I thought.
They know the general location. They know that he set up a kingdom in the Orc territories, but they don't know exactly where. They do know that there are a lot of supplies that are coming to and fro that is telling them that he's building something. Something big, something mean.
So we know the location.
You know the general location. You don't know exactly where he's at.
Well, she's a good scout, hunter, so what's the difference? Hunting an orc is probably just as easy as hunting a bear.
Well, you have been sent to the libraries to do all the research to understand what you're dealing with.
Yes.
To see if you can find some kind of historical ramifications or historical notation that says this is approximately where his kingdom was set up and where trade routes are and things like that.
Yeah, because isn't he running the orcs out there, is what we heard?
Yes. He has developed a kingdom of elven and orc supremacy.
All right, well, last I remember, to the library. Back to see Nari.
You are heading back to Nari.
Yes.
Yep. As you arrive at Nari's library, they have gone through and have pulled books and maps from different years and different cartographers to have a way to lay them out to see if there is any indication of trade routes that have been forgotten through time. Defibulus, give me a perception check.
34.
With a 34, you walk in and you find that they have given you a temporary inventor's table, a place to work, and they have left some materials for you to work with. As you approach and look over it, it's pretty well designed. It's not super portable, but it is definitely something that you could work with. When Nari sees you looking at it, she gives you a nod. Well, the council felt bad, and they know that they are asking you to do a lot to go help us fight or figure out how to deal with this king. And we know that we are potentially sending you into very dangerous areas. So we were able to get you this access to this so that you can do some upgrades. We noticed that your spider and your rat look like they could use some upgrades for armor. And I know that Red Eyes is currently looking into the armor that you're wearing to see if he can find you anything that can help bolster you.
Oh, well, that's awfully nice, you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's the least we could do for all the... She kind of just eyes the wall trouble that we have caused.
Kalila's just gonna smirk.
Nari is slithering around the desks that she has pushed together with these books. And you could see that she is flipping through pages and trying to figure out maps by using major landmarks like coastal regions and stuff like that to kind of line things up.
Kalila's actually gonna go over there and look at the maps while I'm sure Defibulus is oohing and eyeing over his new workstation going, what can he first build on it?
He is doing that, but he does have a thing to add to looking at the maps. He's like, so, ooh, that's a really nice screw. Where'd you get your screwdrivers at? Anyway, are you guys looking at just like elven trade routes? Are you guys looking at like orc trade routes, or even what is the terminology? Think. Oh, right. Old orc game trails that they could be using to smuggle stuff.
I have been focusing in on just finding maps in the last 10 years from when we noticed that this king
kind of developed a kingdom. I mean, we can go further back. I know that the ferryman has given us other maps to use. I just haven't had a chance to undo the seal to use them.
I'll happily help you go through the maps because I think you should be looking further back. As I was arguing with Red Eyes of who I think this cannibal king and what have you is, he's been around for some time, so it might be already established trade routes that you'd be looking at rather than new ones.
Yeah, that was my thought as well. I don't think that the trade routes that are existing are the ones we need to look for. We need to find stuff that the forest has overgrown it, or areas that have become too dangerous for people to cut through to use.
Things that have been around, maybe forgotten by time for a little bit, but then for anybody who's been here would remember. Old routes. I agree. Let me see the maps.
She pulls out a handful of maps, and she also goes and gets a box. This box has got a weird energy to it, as it is leather that is black, and the boning that holds the leather together is white and looks of aged bone.
Pretty box.
This is what we found buried in the desert. Every now and then, when we cast bones, we will get a description of somewhere in the valley that we go and we dig, and the ferryman gives us gifts.
Interesting. Well, who's to question a gift? She'll either wait for Nari to open it or a motion for Nari to let her know it's okay, since it was given to them by the ferryman who they worship. She considers this a holy item to them.
She has already started to open it, which uses an old brass key that the tumbler on it is clearly massive and has weight to it. As she opens it up, there's 3 more scrolls of maps. She begins to open them up and set them out. Cutting the wax on it, she lays them out. Defibulus, while the maps are being looked over, what would you like to do?
Well, we needed to work on Hugin's articulated armor, I thought. So, and the tinkering I was doing. And I don't remember if we got the armor put on the rat, Hugin.
They were just magnets. I'm pretty sure they were put on.
I believe they were put on, yes.
I actually did not remember if they were or not. Well,
But there's still abilities, if I remember right, to upgrade them further.
yeah, I think so. I don't recall. But first things first, Defibulus will... Hey, Hugin!
Come skittering your way.
Alright, buddy. We need to get that armor kind of readjusted.
He'll hold still so you can take it off.
Defibulus will very slowly and very carefully take the armor off of... or barding off of, Hugin and start adjusting it accordingly to what we've seen in any issues that Defibulus has seen that it had while fighting.
Okay, go ahead and roll me an engineering check.
Knowledge or profession?
Aren't they the same number?
Yes, they are.
Actually,
Well, they were.
one is slightly higher than the other.
Go ahead and just roll your higher.
35.
With a 35, you begin to look at where leather has kind of worn a little bit and where the springs have begun to bite into the bolting a little bit and begin to make the adjustments. Looks like it will take you an hour or two to redesign the armor to increase the dexterity. As you're working on it, you're starting to notice that there are areas that you could reinforce with pieces of metal to increase the strength of the armor without making it cumbersome.
And definitely a lot of room for improvement here. You know, Hugin, if it was up to me, I would put like a blunderbuss on here so you can like fire blunderbusses at people.
He'll lift his little spider butt in the air and pretend to shoot something, as if it was on its back.
Yeah, well, I mean, instead of shooting it out your backside, you shoot out the front side. What you looking at?
You get some foot taps.
All right, we'll have to work on Kalila on this one because I don't think she's going to agree to this one right off. Give her your biggest, saddest spiderling eyes.
He'll do a little spin in place.
That should work. Defibrius will set forth to adjusting and repairing the armor and making it better for him.
All right. Go ahead and give me another roll for engineering.
Keep the dice on the table? I would. It's 36.
Okay. So you are able to increase the dexterity on that by about 5.
Ooh.
How's that, little guy? Well, not really little anymore.
He'll give a little wiggle and seem happy.
Excellent. He's like, Mugen, buddy, I don't know what I'm doing with you and how to do it yet. I'd have to look at you.
He'll scamper over.
All right. This is not chew on the defibulous time, though. Get it?
Get sad chitterings.
Yeah, well, you've got sharp teeth and claws and missiles and other funny things. But anyway, defibulous will inspect Mugen as much as he can.
All right. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
I will give you a nat 20 for perception.
With a nat 20, you begin to study things, and you realize there might be a way, if you can find the right pieces, that you could upgrade the armor. It may take you doing some poking around in town, but it looks like it is possible.
Defibulous will very quickly jot down his idea in his little art book, sketch it out real quick. I might have something for you, but I have to do some scrounging.
We'll just kind of hang out.
Delilah, it has taken Nari a couple of minutes to set out all the maps, and she has set them out in a way that you have a timeline. The oldest maps are further down the line, and as the more recent maps are there, they're closer to the right side, kind of giving you a timeline of the world around. As you study the maps, you notice that there are trade routes that come and go, and forests that grow and shrink. Cities or towns that come to existence and seem to disappear years down the line. I need a perception check or a knowledge local.
We're gonna go with perception on that one.
Okay.
27.
With a 27, you begin to notice a couple of trade routes that tended to cut through orc territory. Each one is indicated with a slightly different colored ink that indicates some form of use from some kind of species. Human, elf, dwarf, whatever. They all seem to have their own coloration so that you can kind of figure out where they're coming and where they're going. You notice that there are a couple of routes that seem to cut into the mountains. And going back about 50 years, it goes from a trade route to orc hunting territories. And then it just stops.
All right. She'll make note of that one, point that one out to Nari, going, this might still be here, just no one's jotted it down. If it used to be orc hunting territories, it could be an old pathway that they're using, hoping that everybody forgot that.
Well, if it's orc hunting territory, I don't know many people that would be brave and or stupid enough to travel through there, especially with the orcs getting as aggressive as they've been in the last couple of years.
Unless you command the orcs.
This is true.
So, if it's an old trail that no one's brave enough to use, and you would want to secretly move things around, just kind of open-handedly point to the map.
Now, if we could find a map that maybe an orc made of that area, maybe we can figure out what's in the area. This map is pretty broad. It's hard to say exactly what's over there. It could be all just mountains and could be like caves that we have to deal with, or it could be something more akin to a orc fort that they built there.
Well, that's true. That's concerning with the here and now. But if the trail was once there and they reused the trail, sure, the topography might be slightly different. But it's on the old map from 50 years ago. Do you have additional maps in your library that are as equally old with more information? Old information still might be useful.
She looks back at the fairly large library and she kind of gives a light shrug. It's going to take me a couple of hours to dig through it.
Better than a couple of days. Hours is nothing.
Yeah, no. There are a couple of cartographers here in town that sell maps that they found. Maybe you can talk to them, see if you can't find one. Every now and then that weird guy, the one that used to do the trade routes, he carries them, but lately all he's had is junk.
That guy. Well, he seems to find us every time we step outside of a building, so that shouldn't be too hard to locate him. But I can easily go, talk to the other cartographers.
Yeah, that might be the best way to go. Just let them know that you're working with me on this project, and they won't charge you for the maps because we'll get them back to them.
Will do.
She snakes off and begins to rummage through the library.
Fibulous, you coming? Or are you gonna stay here and upgrade things? I know you have things to do with your guns, and I'm sure your own armor, or do you need to stretch your legs?
Well, stretching my legs would probably be good too, but I also need to go around town looking for parts for Mugen.
All right.
Oh, by the way, he'll nudge Hugen to come over and give the sad equivalent of puppy dog eyes to her. We were thinking of giving Hugen a blunderbuss. What do you think?
Let's start out to see if we can do like a crossbow, and then we'll upgrade him to something loud and explosive.
Oh, hear that, buddy? She said loud and explosive.
Well, that's what blunderbusts are. They're loud and explosive, are they not?
They're loud. They don't generally explode unless you don't care for them.
And how is my spider supposed to care for its weapon?
He comes over and asks me to do it.
All right, that means I'm stuck with you for life. Come on, let's go.
Wait.
I can live with that.
I was gonna say, wait, if I didn't offer to do that, were you gonna discard me or something? Jeez.
No, I was just merely saying I could easily, happily keep you around for that long. Now, come on, let's go find parts and maps. Besides, somebody has to make sure you don't blow up your gun shop.
I have a shop? Well, I actually do have lots of them.
You do? Yes, you just don't currently operate them? I don't know. Who's the business still in? Your hands or the ex-wife?
They would be in my hands.
Okay, well then.
Although I'm sure she's going to fight me on that at some point.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen her.
As you step out of the library, you get a few steps down the road and you hear the familiar jingle of pots and pans and miscellaneous scrap metal as you... What would you like to do as you hear this cacophony of mayhem?
Kalila's gonna see if she can give an appropriate countdown quietly to herself, or maybe just in hearing range of Defibulous, to see if she can time when the table pops open.
Are you going to turn to face the cacophony?
Once to see if she gets the timing right, so it's gonna be that whole like 3, 2, and then wait for the noise of the table opening, and then turn around, going 1,
All right, let's see how good you are at that. Give me a luck check. Just give me a roll of a d20.
I got a 12.
You beat my roll, so as you say one and turn, the legs of this table hit the ground. My friends, I have many things to show you. Please, come look. He begins to set out boxes of arrowheads that are old and damaged. You see arrow quivers and bows and strange mixtures of all sorts of items.
Well, given the fact that Nari said sometimes this guy carries useful things, or did, she will at least, I don't want to say enthusiastically, but not just lack of effort. Like, she'll look through his things.
Ah, interest. Yes. So, what are you looking for? Are you looking for arrowheads? I know these hunters, you always need new arrows. Oh, and I have these feathers. These feathers are from a great griffin. They will always make sure that your bows will fly true.
She'll smirk and go, the bow or the arrow?
I'd be kind of interested to see the bow fly and hit the target.
They will both fly. They are magic. They are a griffin feather.
She's actually going to detect magic and see if the feathers are magical or not.
Just roll me a knowledge nature.
16.
With knowledge nature, you stare at them and you're like, wait, I've seen these feathers before. They are from a common, what would be the equivalent of like a pigeon. They are very short, very sturdy feathers, but not really of griffin origin. They are just your common feathers. A little bit sturdier than your standard feather, but still a very common feather.
He won't say anything, but see if he has any maps.
As you browse through, you don't really see anything of map quality, but Defibulus, please give me a perception check.
31.
As you are looking over the table, and you do see some miscellaneous junk that is legitimately junk, you find spindles and spokes from old carriages, but something catches your eye. You begin to look at the arrowheads. The arrowheads are a little bit different. They're a silver, but there's this blue hue to them. Looks like they might be a rarer metal than at a first glance.
These arrowheads, where'd you get them?
You see, my friends, there was once a great battle, and the enemies, they used these silver arrowheads. They did much damage to everything. They were able to pierce the thickest hide, gouge out the biggest eyes. All that and much more.
How many does he have?
He has what would be the equivalent of a large cigar box worth of them.
How much for the whole kit and caboodle there?
Well, you are a friend, and I should give you full price, but I like you. You have a look about you. I just know I can trust you. I give them all to you for, shall we say, 1 gold?
Yeah, I can deal with that. Amphibious will pay him his 1 gold for his cigar box worth of rare metal bits.
Okay. Would you like to give me another? Do you have knowledge? You know what? Give me a knowledge engineering.
E29.
As you go to close the box, you stop and you begin to look at these. These are not the arrowheads that you would normally see. These are much smaller, and the rust on them is painted on with some kind of like horse glue or some kind of very weak adhesive. You can run your nail across it and you could scrape it off, and you start to see a blue hue to the metal. And then you realize these aren't arrowheads. These are shards of small pieces of mithril. Just big enough to create a chainmail for armor for your spider companion.
Amphibious, realizing what it is, he'll throw in a little more, about 5-10 more gold for me. And here you go, also for your box too.
Ah, see, I knew I would like you. Always the honest kind. You dwarf, or you gnomes are the ones that will take over the world. You have a way about you.
I don't think I'm working on taking over the world, but I'll keep that in mind.
Well, always keep in mind, I am your friend. I will always give you the best deals. Is there anything else you would like to do, Hugin or Kalila, with this, or Hugin, Defibulus or Kalila, with you having this merchant here?
She'll go, well, if you come across any maps, I'll be interested next time.
Maps, I have plenty of maps. One moment. He reaches into a small satchel on his back and begins to throw out map after map after map after map. It seems as if the bag on his back is a bag of holding, and he is literally throwing just tons of maps onto the table. You want maps? I have all the maps. I have maps of the oceans. I have maps of the swamps. I have maps of the sky.
Just for a brief moment, Kalila's gonna stop and make sure he's not related to Mexi and check how many ears he has.
He is a Naga. He has the same amount of Naga ears a Naga would have, which is technically 2 ear holes.
Fair.
His hood is kind of old and tattered, and you do see that the hood has a lot of sun damage, as if he had spent way too much time out in direct sunlight.
Okay, fair. Just making sure. She'll look over the maps and is half tempted to just buy them all because she's a hunter and maps are useful.
As you poke and prod through the maps, some of them are actually pretty useful. Like, you find maps from your area that talk about the migration pattern of several of the different types of elk and deer. You find some that even talk about like migration patterns of the different types of fish that are in the area. The ones that are usually really hard to capture because they are either faster swimming or they tend to hide in different locations. It seems as if these maps are actually drawn pretty well close and actually give like little hints of like what kind of traps to use for different types of fish. Something that someone who lives in the desert has no need for.
She'll start making a little pile of the maps that she wants to keep, both for herself and for the purpose of. So if there's any kind of maps that are down in that mountainous, orc, elven, southern regions of this continent.
Roll me a perception check.
Nat 20.
All right. With a nat 20, you pick up a scroll, and it is actually warm to the touch. As you unfurl it, you start to notice that this talks about volcanoes in the area. The ink that they use to draw out the pathways of lava that it would flow is actually warm to the touch. Not hot, but warm. And you notice that there's a lot of like indications of where a trail or a trade route was that was then during an eruption covered over. So you would have like a blue line where the trail was with the red over top of it, indicating that, you know, it was covered up by some kind of volcanic flow or volcanic explosion.
And that's of the southern region where they're being suspicious of.
Yes.
All right. She'll tuck that map to the side as well.
And with that nat 20, you notice something on the Naga's hip. A box. About the size of your torso. It is clearly made from old wood, and it looks like it has been charred and twined? Bound? That's the word I'm looking for.
I still like your first word better.
I mean, I'm all about making up words. We know this, so I'm all about twound.
It is twound together with this leather that is very thick. It's leather that is almost a half-inch thick, and it's got this look to it that screams, that makes your hunter senses tingle.
Shoes, I have a question.
Yes, my friend. Oh, you have many maps. How can I help?
What's that on your hip?
He looks down. Ah, you are a very discerning cat. He cuts the rope that bounds it to his shoulder and sets it on the table. Now, I found this gem on a hunter. One that was always claiming that they would take out the biggest dragons. I never actually believed him because I don't think I ever saw him shoot an arrow. But that's not the point. My point is this box was on his possession. I saw him. Granted, when I last saw him, he was a charred pile. But that's not the point. The point is this box is rare and precious, and not even I know what's in it.
You haven't opened it yet.
No, I've never felt like it was necessary. It was a what is it called? A fashion piece. It makes me look like I had more product, and more people would come and be like, ooh, what's in the box? If he has that box, what else does he have?
Let's open it.
How do you want to open it?
She will investigate it to see if there's a particular rhyme or reason or just cat-like instincts.
Roll perception.
29.
With a 29, it's bound by this strange leather, and it is bound in horizontal and vertical lines that all interlock with massive knots. It looks like you might be able to cut the leather.
Does that look like that's the only way? Because she doesn't want to damage it, and cutting is damaging.
The binding that holds the box closed, yes. It looks like that is the only way to open it.
Looks like the only way to open it is to cut this here. May I?
Are you planning on buying it?
How much?
He stares at it, looks at you, looks at it, looks at you, looks at it. Well, it is a fashion piece, but you are a friend, so, I give it away for, let's say 10 gold?
All right, and these maps?
We'll call it 15 gold for that and the maps.
She'll pay 15 gold and then cut it open.
Roll your strength.
Oh, not a bad strength roll. Just straight strength?
Yeah.
21.
With a 21, you are able to get a blade underneath one of the straps. And you begin to twist and pull, and it is just not wanting to rip or cut. And then it starts to fray, and then your knife snaps.
Fabulous.
Eh?
Can you figure this one out? So she's gonna try and identify the leather or whatever was fraying, or...
You can identify the leather by using a survival skill.
Alright. Nat 20 again. Which is a 42, by the way.
I hate you. With a 42, you lean in, you begin to stare at this leather, and then you get this overwhelming smell of sulfur. And you begin to study it carefully, and then you realize this isn't normal leather. It is black dragon leather. You begin to look at where it frayed and ripped. It looks like if you had a serrated edge, you might be able to cut through this leather a little bit easier.
Defibs will come over. What'd you do? How'd you break a knife?
I'm pretty sure this is black dragon leather. Do you have anything serrated?
Yes, one moment. He'll take out the bag of holding and look for one of those, like, that little microsaw thing you got from the Miranda.
Yeah, how many toolboxes did we stuff in there?
Too many. Too many.
We still need to, write out everything that you have.
I think last page I looked on it, we had, almost 12 of the damn things thrown in there. Just found them and just put them in there. We'll sort them out later.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what we did.
I got this. Do you think that'll work?
We can try.
Fibulus will find a good spot where the leather looks like it's taut that he can get the blade into, and then try using the Miranda saw.
The Miranda saw powers up to life with this hum and buzzing sound, and it cuts through the leather. It takes you about a minute or two, but it eventually cuts through the leather. Once the leather is cut, you're able to slowly thread it through each of the knots until you are able to open it.
There you go. Have fun with your box.
Thank you. You have fun with yours.
Oh, I will.
She'll
Wait,
open the box.
is this one of those things where it's a cat in a box and you're going to end up climbing inside that box?
Well, I'm outside of the box. I'm not in the box.
Yet.
I'm also much bigger than the box.
And that stops a cat?
Hush you.
As you begin to open up the lid of the box, the wood on it is burnt to a crisp, and any of the hinges that were there have been destroyed by flame and damage. And inside is black leather and what looks like mithril chaining. As you lift it up, you begin to realize that this is catfolk armor that would go down your tail. It is clearly designed for a hunter, as the metal is actually underneath layers of black dragon leather, small parts sticking out to give it just that slightly thorned look on the shoulders. It even has what looks like a helmet that is designed to fit a catfolk comfortably.
Oh, her eyes are gonna go wide. She goes, "Where did you get this again?"
I found it on a dead body.
Was he a cat?
Yes, I said he was a catfolk. He was a catfolk hunter. He said that he always hunted dragons and never really killed a dragon. So he had this, and I found his dead body, and I got it.
Okay, yeah, this is
More do you want from me?
nothing. Here, have some more gold.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Just gonna give him like at least 100 gold. She elbows to Fibulus if he's not looking, by the way.
Ow! What?
Not that heavily, come on.
Well, he was absorbed in his box. So he's like, ow! What?
Look at my box for a second.
It's burnt.
Look! She points out the armor.
Um,
Puts on the helmet. I have a helmet now.
I mean, that's impressive looking.
Thank you.
But what happened to the original owner?
He got burnt.
Oh. Well, my suggestion is don't get set on fire then.
She'll nod.
But it has a really nice piece of armor.
Well, she will put that back in the box for now and she can double check over the maps, make sure there's no other map, but that volcano map was quite useful. Make sure there's no other ones that pique her interest, personal or otherwise.
No, not that you can tell. He does seem to be slightly distracted as he looks past. So, are we good, my friends? I have others to sell to.
Yes, we're good, thank you.
As you say that, he grabs the two corners of the tables, folds it in half, and takes off, snaking towards someone else.
Wait a minute. Mr. Snake Guy, because I don't remember his name.
I don't think he ever gave us a name.
Hey, wait a minute. Before you go.
He is gone. Disappeared into the crowd.
What were you going to ask to Fibulus?
I want to know where he got that table.
Yeah, you did forget to ask. Well, he seems to find us every time we exit a building. So in theory, all we have to do is go back inside, wait a little while, and then come back out.
True, but I mean, I could potentially, if he sells that table or he has another, I could make a mobile bench.
Maybe you can study it and sketch it in your sketchbook and build your own.
That's possible too.
All right. Well, this particular map seems really helpful, but we should probably check with the other cartographers just to make sure there's not a more useful one. Any other shopping you need to do?
Let's see. I got some new Yeah, he shows her what's in his cigar box. These are mithril bits.
Your box was just as good as my box.
And with these bits, I should be able to. Those were the bits for Mugen's armor, right?
For the spider, yes, it's so that you could raise his AC up to 35.
Yeah, so I can. That voice said raises AC to 35. I don't know what that translates to, but yeah, I should be able to modify Mugen's armor with this. Oh, I need to do some work on the turtles too.
You also need to do work on your armor. You've taken a lot of damage the last couple of times.
I can't help it that I'm popular.
Let's see if we can find something to upgrade your armor.
Well, that too, but I did promise the turtles that I would work on them too.
And give them a new coat of paint. You did buy the paint, but you haven't painted them yet.
Yep. I wonder if I can make them move faster.
That would be really useful. Maybe you can put them on, like, little balls or something.
Give them treads instead. Well, but treads have... Defibulous is lost in thought.
She goes, actually, no, speaking of treads, what if you kind of mimicked the design off of those feet from the Miranda?
Which feet?
The ones that could zip around really fast. We have one of their feet, remember?
We keep some really weird stuff in this bag, you know that?
Well, it wasn't a real foot. I mean, but then again, I do have a blackened skull from Psycho. But Emma gave you that prototype that they wanted to give her. Maybe you can copy its design and make the little turtles faster.
Oh, that is a good idea. Hey, Defibulous is now like opened up that little notebook. He's like scribbling notes in there now.
She'll go see if they can find A, a junk shop, and B, the other cartographers, and making sure he doesn't run into any walls on accident as he's sketching and writing.
As you make your way to the different cartographers throughout the city, there are actually quite a few of them. Some of them are using old maps with maps that they've gotten from different places to kind of understand how trade routes change, and are trying to see if they can estimate how a trade route will evolve over time using kind of a guessing game type thing, like, going off of one map to one map, figuring out how the route changed, and then if a town's here, what would this do? Like, it's a lot of, since they don't leave the town, they are working entirely off of old knowledge to theoretical knowledge. Some of them do have other maps that were gifted to them by the ferryman. After a few hours of digging around, you unfortunately were not able to find a junk shop. But as you exit the last cartographers, you can see that the lanterns that are about the town are starting to dim as people are starting to kind of call it a night. As you make your way back to Nari, you hear the same clamber of pots and pans, and you notice that the strange merchant snake is cutting down an old, forgotten alleyway. What would you like to do?
Defibulous, there's your chance.
Excuse me, Mr. Snake Guy.
He seems to be moving into this alleyway. He doesn't seem to hear you.
Kalila's faster. She'll cat sprint over to him to catch him for Defibulous.
All right. What is your movement speed?
Full cat, 40. Well, okay, no, correct me if I'm wrong. If you're literally sprinting, you double your walk, right? Okay, so I can move 80 feet.
You are able to kind of catch the hem of his bag as he slips into the alleyway. And as you do, your eyes adjust and you can see a cavern or a cave that is filled to the brim with junk. And you see the merchant is beginning to empty his bag and reload it with other junk that is strewn about.
She actually kind of stops in awe that all of a sudden there's just this cavern of junk and this guy's here and it's in the middle of this canyon city of Nagas. Like, whoa. She just kind of motions Defibulous a little speechless and is like, I didn't expect to see that.
That is impressive and a lot of junk.
He turns when he hears you say junk. Junk? Junk? How is this junk? It's all usable. All you need to do is have the creative mind to figure out exactly what it needs to do. Welcome to my inner sanctum, my friends. Please, please, come in, come in. He pulls the table open and it clambers open, and there's new junk that has been laid upon it. So, you have gone through the hassle of stalking me, have you? So, much more to sell. What would you need? What would you like? I have much.
We want to upgrade his armor too. Just points in the general defibulous direction.
I was curious, do you have another one of those tables? Or if not, can I study your table?
He narrow eyes you, looking you up and down. Red Eyes. Red Eyes has that kind of armor hidden about in his home. He might be able to help you. As for my table, yes, you may draw it all you want.
Oh, excellent. Defibulous will get to work studying exactly how it's put together, how it works, and everything.
Roll a knowledge engineering.
That gives you a nat 20 for that.
It is a standard table with hinges for the legs and hinges in the center. It seems to be a rather mundane table. You see no runes, no scrying, and no possible way that it could be folded in half with the items still on top.
Question for you.
Questions? I don't sell questions, and I don't buy questions either. They're very hard to get rid of. I had once that sold me a question, and then it ended up leading me to a desert, and then I ended up here.
All right, well, maybe you can sell me an answer then.
Answers are very few, but I can try.
All right, so I noticed that I've studied your table, nicely crafted table, I might add. I'm curious on how do you keep everything on it when you fold it and put it away?
He actually just shrugs.
Not quite the answer I was looking for.
I didn't say I'd have a good answer. I just have an answer. Now, it seems you are looking for pieces. What kind of pieces are you looking for? I have much to sell. He walks over to a pile and begins to throw things onto the table. You see the same broken lantern from earlier. You see a box of marbles that are shiny and iridescent. You find that he throws water skins that have several holes in them. You see other miscellaneous things that just kind of land perfectly on the table.
Defibulous will lean into Kalila. Hey, can you detect magic on that table?
She'll stare at the table and detect magic.
The table is mundane. No runes, no nothing. It is a simple wooden table.
There is no magic on that table. None whatsoever.
So how's everything sticking to the table when he folds it in half?
You know, we have seen stranger things. I am not questioning that.
Well, no, I'm questioning it because if I could figure out how to do that, I could set up an entire reloading, repair bench, and everything, and have all the stuff stay on there instead of having to take it out and put it on there individually.
Ask him to buy your table.
Does your table normally do that when you just throw stuff on it?
He tosses a glass sphere onto the table, which seems to just stop perfectly without rolling. He looks, he goes, "Do what?"
You just threw a spherical crystal on the table and it stopped dead on where it landed.
Are you interested in this sphere? He picks it up. This sphere is a sphere of ever-seeing sight. You can peer into it and you will get lost and know all about yourself.
Now, I'm more curious on how your table stopped it from rolling off.
He gives you another shrug.
Defibulous will find something round that probably will sustain, if it falls off a table won't break, and chucks it on the table to see if it does the same thing.
It hits the table, rolls for a second or two, and then just before it crosses the edge, it kind of rolls back a little bit and stops moving.
How much for your table?
table? Why would I sell my table? This is my shop. Would you sell your shop?
I have sold shops before.
I didn't say some of your shops. Would you sell your shop?
I don't have my own personal shop at the moment.
But don't you? I'm pretty sure a gnome of your stature has many things that are sellable. Many things that I could sell to the peoples. Many things that would make someone like me rich.
Do you know Mexi?
No. Who's that? He picks up the lantern that he showed you before. Have I showed you this lantern? It can never break.
Didn't you break it?
It's still in one piece, isn't it?
So it repairs itself?
It has to break first, but it doesn't break. See? Tap, nothing, tap, nothing, tap. It shatters. It broke. He just slowly sets the handle down.
She's gonna watch it. She goes, that's the same lantern. You did the same thing. And then it fixes itself?
No. Wait. No, see, it's broken now.
But I thought you said it didn't break.
It didn't. Maybe you're cursed. You said you saw me do this before, and I've only done it once. It's never broken before.
Kalila is now suspicious, but it's just like, can I just look around? Pointing to his massive cavern.
Please, go on. Enjoy the views of the ever-sized hoard of things that I sell.
She will go and meander, but at the same time contemplate what would happen if him and Mexi ever met.
The Fibulus, this strange Naga, is staring at you, narrow-eyed.
Tribulus will stare back at him, narrow-eyed.
He kind of leans in and looks around like he is trying not to be overheard. So I hear you're trying to make little turtles go faster.
Yep, wait.
Are you tired of them just going to tink to tink? Do you want them to go to tink to tink to tink to tink to tink to tink?
How did you hear about that?
I have something special. He seems to ignore you as he picks up the box of marbles that are iridescent. These might come in handy, my friend. Consider this a gift for all that you've done for me. You have spent much gold. It is only right that I repay your kindness with kindness.
You sure I don't want to short you on your inventory?
No. I find these all the time, and I don't know what to do with them, so I just put them in a box. And you seem to be the smart kind, so you can either use them for bullets, but I don't suggest that, or you can use them to make your little things move faster.
I appreciate that, thank you. And if it works, I'll let you know. And if it does, maybe we can go. If you find them all the time, maybe I can add them to my stores, and we can sell turtles that go faster everywhere.
That would be amazing. Little turtles going vroom very quickly all over the place.
Fibers will thank him and put the box aside on things that they're taking with him.
Kalila, are you still poking around this man's shop? Well,
Yep.
Hoard.
Yep.
Roll me a perception check.
24.
With a 24, you see something that's just above head height. It's about the size of a scroll. It is made from what looks like silver and bronze, and it almost looks like a map holder. Map tube.
A tube of types that might hold a map.
Right.
We'll pick it up.
No, it's above your head.
How high above my head?
That you would probably have to climb onto the junk pile to get to it.
How stable does the junk pile look?
Roll me a perception.
30.
It looks like if you were careful, you could probably jump from armor to box to sword to shield and get to it without toppling over the junk pile.
She will attempt this.
Roll me an acrobatics.
Nat 1.
As you reach up to step onto the first set of armor that you see, the entire pile of sharp objects comes careening down on you. And you take 25 damage.
25. Good
shit.
lord.
There's a lot of metal junk in this thing.
You hear loud clanks and followed by a.
Are you all right over there?
I'm fine.
What did you do?
Probably climbing out from underneath all the things.
The snake walks up.
Ah, so curiosity almost killed the cat. Did you see something that you wanted to purchase?
She'll point.
He snakes up the pile of junk and pulls it out, and he goes,
This is new.
He slithers down and offers you a hand up.
She'll get up.
Do you take his hand, or you just pull yourself up?
She'll take his hand.
As he pulls you up, you could feel that his hands are cold and clammy, like what you would expect a snake that has been hiding underground with not a lot of sun to feel. He snakes over to his table and sets down the tube.
This is a new thing.
He begins to open it and slides it out, and you see a map that is made on brand new vellum. You see the symbol of the trading guild that is in the area. And as it unrolls, you see a map that has a map creation date of only a few months ago. And it talks about a new trade route that cuts through some old, forgotten, volcanic vents that are in the southern region.
She'll wait for him to say something.
He
But-
just
Eyeballing it.
looks at it, nods, and slowly looks up at you.
Well, it looks like somebody has given me a gift. This map has many, many treasures, does it not? Look, trade routes galore. I wonder what I could do for this. I wonder how it got here.
I don't know the answers to that, but I'll take it.
Oh. Okay, how about 5 gold?
Deal.
He takes the 5 gold and carefully rolls the map up and slides it back into the tube and hands it to you.
She'll hand him 5 gold.
Now that you have made a mess, I must clean up my shop.
I'd offer to help, but I have a feeling I'd just make it worse.
Yes, well, they do say curiosity killed the cat.
And satisfaction brought her back.
Well, apparently you are satisfied then.
Yes.
He smiles as he begins to pick up the junk that has fallen and begins to slowly set it back onto the pile.
She will, I don't want to say sheepishly, but very much so keeping her hands to herself, make her way back to Defibulous, not touching anything.
Make any more messes?
No, just the one. But I got what I wanted.
You know you're bleeding, right?
No, I'm not.
Did you literally just fall off of a pile of stuff and have it fall on you?
That is not what happened.
Oh, then what happened?
I didn't fall off. The shoulder plate shifted.
So you fell.
No, it fell on me.
You fell. Your body went in a downwards direction with more stuff falling on top of you.
More like a sideways direction.
You're still bleeding though.
Shh. She drinks a health potion.
What would you guys like to do next?
Did you get your answers about your table or any other useful items?
Well, I got some marbles that he said might make my turtles go faster. Though how he knew about it, I don't know. That table, I can't figure it out. I threw something on it. It rolled to the edge, stopped, and rolled itself back towards the middle and stayed. I don't
Well-
see. And what I might do is I might go actually next time we go to Mexi, give him the diagram and see if Mexi can find a table that does stuff like that.
Maybe Mexi can build you one.
Exactly.
She goes, well, let's get some dinner and head back to Nari. The sun has gone down.
Has it?
Good point.
You're underground, so you wouldn't know. You just know that the torches have been dimming.
Well, the torches got darker, so I'm assuming... shouldn't it be reversed? Shouldn't the torches get lighter so you could see it? This place is confusing.
Or they're dimming them so that so it doesn't look as bright for people in their homes.
Yeah.
Are you having trouble?
No.
As you both go and find a place to eat, you can hear the sounds of the metal being placed back in as you exit the strange cavern. Finding a place to eat, you sit down and enjoy a nice, warm meal. And as the camera slowly fades, we end this episode here.
Well, me friends. It seems as if this strange junk merchant had treasures hidden in his trove. Strange marbles that will help the Figulus's little turtles move just a little faster. As well as maps. Many maps, in fact. All that seem to give them the ability to hopefully figure out where this strange encampment of the Arises is. Well, I know you, of course, my friend, understand. When a king is called the Cannibal King, and he has orcs and elves under his boot, only evil must be there. But the adventurers have to make do and deal with this threat if they want to continue. So, until next time, me friends, may the dice gods bless your every roll.
We here at What the Dice would like to thank Paizo for creating Pathfinder, Epidemic Sound for our music, as well as Sirenscape for our sound effects. If you would like to reach out to us, you can do so on Facebook at What the Dice Pod, Twitter at What the Dice Pod, and of course email whatthedicepod@gmail.com. And if you liked our little adventure, please share us with your friends and rate and review us.